right, we are live. Hello, everyone. I'm Richard Millett, the one. And this is the quarantine stream. And let us now hear the ever beautiful, ever lovely, ever green quarantine stream theme, shall we?
Life is but a dream in the quarantine stream.
Beautiful. All right. Gonna do something special tonight. It's one I've never done before. I did not write this. It was written by a great man many years ago. Hope you enjoy it. It's called The Stars and Stripes of Corruption. Finally got to Washington in the middle of the night. I couldn't wait. I headed straight for the Capitol Mall. My heart began to pound. Yahoo, it really exists. The American International Pictures logo. I looked up at that Capitol building, couldn't help but wonder why. I felt like saying, "Hello, old friend." Then I walked up the hill to touch it, and then I unzipped my pants and I pissed on it when nobody was looking. Like a great eternal Klansman with his two flashing red eyes. Turn around, he's always watching. The Washington Monument pricks the sky. Flags with pubic hair ringed round the bottom. The symbols of our heritage lit up proudly in the night. Somehow fits to see the homeless people passed out on the lawn. So this is where it happens. The power games and the bribes. All lobbying for a piece of ass. The stars and stripes of corruption. Makes me feel so ashamed to be an American when we're too stuck up to learn from our mistakes. Trying to start another Vietnam while Rome burns at home. The boss says you're laid off, blame the Japanese. America's back all right at the game it plays the worst, strip mining the world like a slave plantation. No wonder others hate us and the Hitlers we handpick to bleed their people dry for our evil empire. The drug we're fed to make us like it is God and country with a bang. People who should know better howl, America rules, let's go to war. Business scams are what's worth dying for. Are the Soviets our worst enemy? We're destroying ourselves instead. Who cares about our civil rights as long as I get paid? The blind me generation doesn't care if life's a lie. So easily used, so proud to enforce the stars and stripes of corruption. Let's bring it all down. And tell me, who's the real patriots? The Archie Bunker slobs waving flags? Or the people with the guts to work for some real change? Rednecks and bombs don't make us strong. We loot the world, yet we can't even feed ourselves. Our real test of strength is caring, not the war toys we sell the world. Just carry on, thankful to be farmed like worms. Old glory for a blanket as you suck your thumbs. Real freedom scares you, because it means responsibility. So you chicken out and blame me, saying love it or leave it. I'll get beat up if I criticize it. You say you'll fight to the death to save your useless flag. If you want a banana republic that bad, why don't you go move to one? But what can just one of us do against all that money and power trying to crush us into roaches? We won't destroy society in a day until we change ourselves first from the inside out. We can start by not lying so much and treating other people like dirt. It's so easy not to base our lives on how much we can scam, and you know it feels good to lift that monkey off our backs. I'm thankful I live in a place where I can say the things I do without being taken out and shot. So I'm on guard against the goons trying to take my rights away. We've got to rise above the need for cops and laws. Let kids learn communication instead of schools pushing competition. How about more art and theater instead of sports? People will always do drugs. Let's legalize them. Crime drops when the mob can't price them. Budgets in the red? Let's tax religion. No one will do it for us. We'll just have to fix ourselves. Honesty ain't all that hard. Just put Rambo back inside your pants. Causing trouble for the system's much more fun. Thank you for the toilet paper, but your flag is meaningless to me. Look around. We're all people. Who needs countries anyway? Our land, I love it too. I think I love it more than you. I care enough to fight the stars and stripes of corruption. Let's bring it all down. If we don't try, if we just lie, if we can't find a way to do better than this, who will? we doing out there? It's called Virgin Prairie. Laying straight and still, staring down at rivulets filled with flattened cicada shells. Waiting at dusk, watching people across the field try and weave a blanket from ashes, matted branches, and damp grass. But I barely care. I am distracted by voices echoing over the horizon. Voices I listened so hard to. One sounded like a melting telephone. One sang like typewriter keys. Another rang like a confused bluebird and has since locked in my memory. I tried to find a place where, on the prairie, I could sleep. At daybreak, I was woken up by voices that waved in the air like film projected on fog, voices that hovered like an underexposure on a robin's wing. I searched my thoughts, hoping to realize which voices I took for granted, the ones that only appear every other year. I got lazy and lost intervals of hours staring at the sun circling in the sky. I got confused and gave incorrect directions to a couple of asking backpackers. I got angry about heredity and when carelessness intertwines with chronology. I could not control my shaking limbs or the cold sweat on my forehead. I needed to tend to my health. I needed to walk steadily without help. I needed to make a fire and learn to stop time. I needed to be the watch one has to wind. It's called The New Nature. We know what we've seen, so much more water falling from the sky, making miniature lakes out of puddles and forming little rivers and gutters. New homes being built where the mudslides ran down the hills, quenching the forest fires. So many new islands and bays for animals to gather together, standing on one foot. New games being played as new trees emerge in marshes and parks form over landing strips. We know what we think about it. Never desecrate the body, never poison the water supply, never bathe in insecticide, see and think. Never barter for bacteria, never throw poison down the well, never desecrate the body. In a glass sink, the water can start to build its own walls and divide its own chromosomes. In a glass shower, the nozzle calcifies the water and organizes the deposits into clear lines. On a glass floor, spilled water pulls away from itself, towards the corners, towards the door. On a glass ceiling, the water can reform into pointillistic droplet paintings. We know what we see and what we think. This is from a book I did called This Is What Freedom Looks Like. And this is what freedom looks like. It's called Sympathy for the Cowboy. Sympathy for the cowboy, all alone on the range after the war ended, he was forced to change his name. Sympathy for the cowboy, holding his dying brother, who begged with his last breath to tell mother that I died with honor. Sympathy for the meth lab and all who fight in harm's way, who hope to abolish minimum wage and charge only $15 a day. Sympathy for the modern times and those who argue that they're in the right. Sympathy for the victim who already has all of the laws on their side. Sympathy for the student who's only lived in theory in a hammer and sickle t-shirt, walking away from the barricade. Sympathy for the lawsuit and all who fought for reform. Sympathy for the bumper sticker telling you to be reborn. Sympathy for the stallion, running free and too wild to ride. Sympathy for the guy who tried. His wife cried, him and his foolish pride. Sympathy for the strawberry and the trial separations, press releases pleading for privacy and doing it for the kids. Sympathy for the nihilist, sucking on his cigarette, cutting you off in traffic, no constraints of guilt or regret. Sympathy for the stalker on his computer outside, looking at pictures of you in high school, saving each one, even if it takes him all night. Sympathy for the cowboy whose son moved off the ranch, said he might be coming back soon if there's no change of plans. Doing okay out there? Good? Looking good. This is from Your Future, Your Freedom, which came out a few years ago. It's called A Moderate Man. I went walking through the morning to enjoy the autumn air, and I came upon a clearing. Some folk from in town greeted me graciously. As they stood waiting, Frank then strode into the center of the circle, with 3 men by his side. Frank abruptly unfolded his note and started speaking. The 3 men reshaped in a line behind Frank as his inimitable voice intoned. Men in masks shall not live on your land, for they are cowards whose spirits are trapped. Thou art born without caste. Your soul is unshared, and judgment shall not be passed or carried out by committee on your quiet acts. Frank, flanked by the 3 men, then swiftly left, while the crowd collectively shuddered, and there were mutterings of, "What Frank giveth doth not equal what he takes. Heart of fowl, eyes of a snake, words of an apostate." I followed the trail back to my home, whilst conversing with Pastor Corbett. Upon reaching my front gate, he looked me square in the eye and said, "Just because I am prone to help my neighbor in good faith, family or friend, that doth not make." It's called Two Franciscan Nuns. Chewing mint leaves while crossing the Calumet River, the paper mill's exhaust pipes interrupt the vista. Mules waited with surge protectors, hairspray, and cassettes, a riverboat of morphine-addicted ghosts over there on the left. 2 Franciscan nuns wanted to build a hospital, but settled for organizing games of chance. In their hotel rooms, they squeeze out extra acidic orange juice and excommunicate people with unpleasant names from the phone book. 2 Franciscan nuns helped decorate an admiral in the pensioner's home after he'd misplaced his uniform. They blessed his pills, kissed his parakeet, and as he slept, gathered sets of his false teeth to sell at the swap meet. A brain with blood and oxygen is better than a fish who talks. What some people see as skin discoloration is in fact the natural pigmentation when viewed from the inside. Some newspapermen have always known this, and have nothing to hide. It's like taking a course. This is called Swim to the Center. When I wasn't, I was offensive, outside the wave, weak without a mission, never gaining strength. Why not? Yes, the river slithers, the confession pathetic, center of the solid rock punched clear through. Only a human with a circuit, a sky with breath. The order must be ignored. Action and full action. I am ready. Are you going to swim to the center or waste your time in space? Do you know your energy lasts forever, or are you convinced you should be stuck in one place? So what are you going to do? Protect your ego and hide in some group? We're free and so are you, and you better understand that, because if not, we're all through. Are you going to swim to the center or choose not to act? Are you going to deny and try and feel better, or create a load of crap no one gets? What are you going to do? Lie behind shame, slogans, flags, and fake facts? We are here and so are you, and you better understand that, because if you don't, we're all through. What I see is invisible. We see together. What I feel is immeasurable. We feel together. What we make is untouchable. It's for the future. What we are is infinite. It's in the universe. Remember, wind is everywhere. Remember to smile at the air. Remember, you build each star. Remember to smile in the dark. And with that in mind, it's called Oranges. Blue and red stripes laying on her bed, throwing chicken to the fish waiting to be fed. Flying fortress in the cold yellow light, electronic geysers marking the millimeters at night. The redwoods grew out of the lakes, then the horses and cougars came from apes, and after speaking formed their shapes, they wrote an alert, they planted themselves in the desert. The sky is one meal a day floating through hoarfrost. The orator utters proclamations under acid precipitation. Bodies and mind, yours and mine, our energy is our vocation. The truth, the purified milk came from the amalgamation. How to eat, to live, and sleep underneath, to see the silent actions and keep what we dream. Right now, a machine exists to read your thoughts, and I'm called a fool. A fool is one who follows a stranger's rules, stealing coal and jewels, feeding their fixation, and altering their gestation. One man is not a nation, one woman is not a nation. My knife slipped through the ghosts of Enoch Powell, Mary Whitehouse, and Ronald Reagan, and into Abaddon's icy abdomen. This morning I went to work. There was a mouse on the road, running between cars, sliding over the snow. He got told by the acquaintance he doesn't know the real world. He told them, I don't think you know about the world outside your world. Because we've come here to annoy you, we've come here to destroy you. No flies on her, no skies on me, or our ulterior alchemy. A spirit doesn't have flesh and bones, you can see I do. A wave isn't solid, but it can slice through and bury you. The floor in his basement began to crumble. Let me say, I won't eat meat if it causes my brother to stumble. My brother, why do you live in a state of degradation, pressing away atoms of inspiration, continuing this dissipation? You said you formed all light and darkness, evil and peace, but you made yourself deformed and obese, a member of the secretive police. Screeching seagulls drop their feathers on the sphere, two sets of twins announcing that they're leaving here, and ferrying out to live inside the windmills. The fog is too thick to see the pinnacles. Blue, red, and gray stripes laying on her bed, silver ovens making new bread, flying fortress in the breaking midnight, electronic geysers signaling for continual flight. Doing okay? Looks like we are. Very good. Now more than ever. The issue is to not say that there's a sickness. The issue is to understand what is sick and why it is sick, and then to make things better, even if no one else is properly figuring out the fucking diagnosis. With that in mind, this is called Cruelty-Free Heroin. When the Guardian goes mad, the sun rains against their eardrums, indistinguishable from Morse code tapping on a copper plate. Yes, when the Guardian has gone mad, they're found singing love songs to tanks, draping staircases in flags, breaking car windows to decorate their faces with the glass. When the Guardian goes mad, they're captured pushing a pickaxe into an LED screen and detained for threatening to throw snakes at gas station attendants. When the Guardian goes mad, people suddenly remember to turn on AM radio and patiently follow guidelines before filing a full report. Though there are always doubters and passers-by who start conspiracy theories, the usual being that this was a planned distraction. If the Guardian goes mad, they'll arrive at every awards ceremony with a mirror in hand and a ribbon under their chin and make demands to review the voting process when they don't win. If the Guardian goes mad, they'll rue the day they lost control of their relationships, spending weeks hiring staff to bury paperwork they'll insist doesn't exist. If the Guardian goes mad, all their meals shall consist of orange peels pulled from chain-link fences and burned coffee flavored with molded peach preserves. Though there are always doubters ready to offer an opinion of unverifiable proof, summarizing that death and maps are the only real measures of impact. Can you imagine having that fucking disease? If the Guardian cracks up, they'll spend bleak days envisioning trees committing suicide, grandmothers doing crystal meth for the first time, and gnats smeared into toothpaste. If the Guardian cracks up, 7 strangers stuck in a bank will claw at each other to seek cold air in the vault and wait for their families and firemen to arrive and dig them out. If the Guardian cracks up, pirates will walk their own planks and devour themselves once they hit the water, thrashing back at their gnashing teeth, running the seas red until hunter and prey are finally one. Ignorance! Arrogance! The pest control man said unto me. When I was in Japan, I bought cherry bread in a can. I opened it with a knife and slid off the wrapper. The air bubbles stayed floating in my mouth, and I rolled them around and around and around and around until I returned back home to the West. Bliss, tolerance, the pest control man said unto me. Sometimes my apartment building turns into a vending machine and I get deposited out into the evening to provide goods and services for lucky couples with good taste and a few wandering dollars to rub together. Okay out there? Good. That's what we like. This is called 1+1. Already cleared toward the light, already prepared for existence in time. 7 times belonging to a cosmic happening. 7 times occurring for what's already there. It's a pin-step balance already in place, without having to chant or petition for deliverance. Already inside of your mind is what's real. Already away from a one-note idol. Already tested under the subconscious. Everything you know will eventually be revealed. It's called May. Get it together, get it yourself. The feelings you had linger for months. Under the ground, garden life albatross. She bleeds all over me. I say ball and chain in simple words. Idealization, affiliation, detoxification, menstruation. Dirt in the coffin, she's bleeding on the flower stems. Up in the air, salivating tissue. Under the ground, dirt on the nails, bleeding again. Extend a hand in loving help, but maybe you should just kill yourself. Doing okay out there? Good. This is called Slovo to China. The razor skin fell on the seat. The roof had been gouged out by a key. The exits were guarded. A few numbers written down, typed out in a foreign language, all the product of inflation. The casino slot machines paid out with surf music and a 20-minute ring. The plumber knocked on the last room of the far wing and was tipped with uneaten meat. I keep trying to leave, but I only get more inside. I made it out of the garage only to be stuck behind a foreigner with $1,000 hubcaps on a $50 car. A girl climbed up the mic and before she got numb, asked them how they could stand the climate. She was from California, never was snowed on, didn't get stopped by trains, 25 miles to 20 miles to 5 miles to 15 miles, then down to 3, ranging from dour to catatonic to irate. Can't tell a building from a train. Everyone drives through except for me, though. I stopped the frame. I took the wrong exit, driving into the marching band display, and wrote my senator complaining to his face. He wrote back saying, "Yes, son, it's about time we did things your way." Everybody's an altar boy looking for a lampshade to make straight, some Sunday spending money, a free robe, a thimble out of the river because they made their case. Trees grow faster in the city, according to the study. The nutrients depleted my body. No electricity is going to open that door. Ice is slow and not enough to keep my attention. My attention. Everybody acting like an altar boy, dragging their disagreements out into the street, stopped, slow and coy, using their vestments for sheets. A few quick turns and pleas for a reward. But the holding cell is empty, and I don't choose to open it today. I paid to replace the battery and canceled my appointments. The dentist charged me a late fee. The neighbor watched his lawn instead of TV. And here's the moral of the story. I put my dinner in a glass and filled it with water, drank half and left the rest. I threw in some safety pins to see how fast they'd rust, and after 6 months, there were still no results. Called Shedding Skins. Gladiator around the ringworm, dancing with a spectral beauty that isolates fleeting flags and flowers from their glorious panderings, only to find out they need no bounds to pillage the free-flow love mine, boiling on the calluses of their corneas. But you, yes, you know him actually on the second time around, forever never considered what you laugh or what you grunt behind, and nothing is alas everything, has been unrecovered by the sallow aristocracy implosion, in order when little girls encased in gender sunshine pulled down the dawn and shrieked merrily of the conquest of fantasy facts, that which in, proven by the powers that appear in, by, how, where, because, the lightning rays that is the steel girder stapled to the collective loin nicked off its kerosene shell until its rural timeshares spat mucus from the utter depths of their backwoods soul scenery and trounced upon radiators slashing sharply in the wind and neatly layered sharkskin sweater investments, droning to the click drum madness that haunts the delights of the cupids and raises their swords to obscene fool Nancy's that now branching to the stratosphere came nearer and nearer to their choice flight of destination, gesticulatingly appointed by the elder Olympus, that no man hath done tread upon, neither conquering nor salivating, to the twisted pipeling perpetuating ghostly consequence, leading in for the crescendo that yearns to flee away, perhaps to the gutter, perhaps to the perforation, perhaps to the hostage's cage. In a womb 36 inches by the only thoughts you can't repress, manifesting success that by life and honor the first depths came forth united to the loyalty, neither comprehend, instead shaping the wing taught so flagrantly as well known to regard its own high priest as the height and unique daft eccentricity. Oh man, she who curses doth not will the plentitude into sleeping, but only scraping stones from its fingerprints, tangled lewdly and in connection and gratification with a floundering spider's web. This is a very old one called Celestial Bliss. Suburbia strip-mauled frontier is here. White trash unite. Newt Gingrich stay clear. Open 24/7. It's a stoner's heaven, and the parking lot is extra large. Pack up the kids. Get in the van. We're going down to the Super K. Everything we want. It's our new life. More than KFC and more than Christ. Velcro shoes, vending machines, and dead tattoos. Produce hair dryers and Goodyear tires. Aisles sure look neat while you're tripping. And the milk costs 39 cents less. 23 ounces of Snapple Magic, stocking caps and 40s for the pretend gangstas, and thank God for the Little Caesars with the Zit Gorge teen bringing up your socks. An arcade for the kids, and they just installed the video rental. We'll never leave, it's our utopia, because it certainly doesn't ever get better than this. Looking for America? Well, here it is. It's the closest thing to culture we'll ever see. We spend so much of our time being slaves, and the rest is spent in line at the Super K. Pack up your kids, get in the van, we're going down to the Super K. Everything we want, it's our new life, more than KFC and more than Christ. Doing okay out there? Looking good. All right, we're going to do 2 in a row. One possible ending, followed by passing for white. Morning started with the Lord Mayor looking through my garbage, then running down an alleyway, guardsmen lining the fire escapes. I was at the airport selling luggage and pleasantries. A 20-year-old let me finish his breakfast in exchange for a letter from his university. With so many people watching slow-motion explosions, I've started turning my sights towards unfiltered colors and unretouched images. The unwalked world, where cures for disease sleep unnoticed in Brazilian trees, is a word problem that I can't solve. While so many people are watching slow-motion explosions, I've started adjusting to diagrams, drafting tools, and handmade copper crowns. There are already enough code breakers for the next Cold War, more feathered hats and white suits in the lobbies of the finest luxury hotels that Europe has to offer, more handcrafted sports cars to speed along the smoothest roads that man has ever known, more than enough gold to flake into steaming broth with sumptuously verdant acres of You've used it before, posting signs pointing to the closest church. Your church is closed to be reopened by the mayor's cousin in construction. The glistening grocery store, the tavern with daily fashion shows. He set up a conference call and he's trustworthy because he looks like me. Big white belly like a fish! The hotel with large chunks of missing bricks. The police station next to the building with a sign pasted in the front window that says, a law firm. The truck enforcement officer standing in the oncoming lane with his arms outstretched in ecstasy, overseen by a smiling baby who's somehow able to say, I could smile 12 weeks from conception. I show my hand. I know I always show my hand. Meanwhile, it's 7:05 a.m. 2 cars, 3 spaces apart in the White Castle parking lot. 1 man each gets out. On the left, he's wearing jeans and a flannel shirt and a cowboy hat, and on the right, a charcoal gray business suit. They walk in a V shape, meet at the door with a handshake, then heated conversation. The corners of the cowboy's mouth start to bubble and foam as she's wobbling down the sidewalk. Her skin-tight clothes somehow hang off of her as she's watched by a man in a tracksuit holding a cell phone to his ear in silence 20 feet away. The party crew pulls a U-turn as she's Lance Romance throws 20s at the guys waving away fruit flies and then shows his people why this is the finest fire extinguisher you'll ever find. The party crew spots the car wash and they get in line. They watch the jets bubble and foam, pretend they're superheroes with unlimited powers to make bubbles and foam. Theranos Industries ecosystem. She said accusingly and secretively. Retiring your bloodless and company. Why you and bum? Frozen in place, the beer cans, hair extensions, pubic hair, bondage wear, eagle eyes, white fumes, flying fingers, tops and bottoms, middling kingdom, camels of choice. I'm in a flood zone. Watch the bubble and foam, where form follows steam and bourbon follows cream. Bubble and foam over the safety warning. The crew delights, set one sweat glands reeling with a shark tooth covered in pudding. The owner urges everyone to look out the window at the condo, tow truck, victim, night, uniform, camera, car, newspaper, bank, park, yard, new restaurant, as if he's got some psychic powers. He was taught the meaning of versatility, respect for the law, trust for fistfights, and an arid humor that snorts debris when under the advisement of enforced idleness. This is a piece from many years ago, and now a content warning because we live in the stupidest fucking time possible. You know, I thought we weren't going to have to deal with the authorities. When I was younger, I thought the future was going to consist of not having to deal with the authorities and to fight battles for censorship. But turns out you don't need to worry about the cops when everybody is their own cop, right? So anyway, this piece contains a racial epithet, and this is written in character, so I'm sorry that I have to speak to everyone like they are stupid babies, but this is the world that we live in. So usage of a word is not endorsement. I think if you're not a fucking idiot, you would know that. But this is the world that we live in. And unfortunately, things are so stupid that we lost one. Goodbye. Yeah, you weren't wanted anyway, trust me. You know, we live in such a stupid time that the so-called left, the supposed left, is all about censorship, left, right, and center. It's very weird, very contradictory. The right wing has always been, quote unquote, the problem, but now we have to take on elements of the left as well, which is very disheartening for a Green Party person like me. So please don't say that I'm part of some bullshit. Oh, we lost all of you. Good riddance. I don't care. I truly don't give a shit. So, good riddance to you. Good. I vote Green Party. I'm not a part of this bullshit. And I'm completely disinterested in it. So, you know, you want to reinforce if you want to reinforce the agenda of billionaires, that is your problem, not mine. Because, you know, it's not what I do. So, fuck yeah! This is called I Never Run Out of Money. It's about freedom, like everything I do is. So, got that? Thank you. Pedantic, stupid times call for pedantic, stupid content warnings. We're supposed to be against censorship. We are supposed to be for freedom of expression, all freedom of expression. The idea that somehow now means Trump is indicative of what an insane and dumbass world we live in. Because fuck Trump, and bad as he is, double fuck Pence, okay? Do I need to make that any clearer? Thank you. He got in the car just to drive away. It was 80s night on the radio, and he felt his eyelids quiver from the thoughts left in them. He always wanted to go out with one of the older kids, and he sped past her house to remind himself that the whole thing wasn't fiction. He had to chew on tablets of ephedrine just to stay awake as he careened down a one-lane town. The clock read 2:14 a.m. Name another place where you don't have to worry about the come-on-your-coat from the guy in back of you on the bus, or the weekend in Boys Town where you lost all your money, where you can die for the 50 stars and still get reborn, where you can vomit on someone else's tonsils and still go home with them for the night. And you know that when you got a dime bag in your lap and you can drive the service service entrance to paradise, it's not a privilege, it's a birthright. He was always fascinated by the kids who looked a few years older, who looked coked up by the time they were 15. The news came from Washington. He had a fantasy that he kept kissing her on the forehead. Oliver North had been acquitted and Fawn Hall wasn't to blame, just like when they arrested Manuel Noriega because he wouldn't pay cash for the shipping costs of all of his cocaine. He pulled into Super K for some Coca-Cola and saluted the limp American flag on the way in. Rolling Stone had Bruce Springsteen on the cover, and he felt like he had razor blades inside his stomach. Somehow everyone felt let down by the Gulf War. It wasn't as bloody as My Lai, and it wasn't as funny as Grenada, and gooks weren't bombed in the process. The commodities and golden parachutes kept all the middle management well liquored up by the time Bush was giving his resignation speech. Voodoo economics and the crack epidemic sometimes made you wish that Nixon had been right all along. But this never seemed to bother him, and the national debt never meant shit to any decent citizens, especially not the kids who saw Heathers when it was still in the theaters. He got off the phone with one of his friends who complained that crack smoking was just a cheap ghetto high. The erythromycin was fucking up his liver, but at least it kept the acne off. He read a book about Charles Manson, and he figured the only difference between him and Nixon was a few years in jail and a copy of the White Album. But the thought of Squeaky or Sadie dressed in their black capes creepy crawling into someone's house was still freaky enough to keep him sleeping out on the couch. That night, he had a horrible dream. Eric Estrada was hosting a beauty pageant at the Playboy Mansion, featuring categories like worst facelift and most fucked up tit job. But he couldn't walk away from the spectacle of it all. All he could do was to slug down a bottle of Thunderbird and cradle a hard-on while slobbering, "I do believe I'm ready for the Playboy Mansion! I want to see Hef! Open up those goddamn gates!" He woke up before the former First Lady wet t-shirt contest and ran to his car in horror. He flicked on the ignition tape and forced in a homemade tape. And while joy and pain leaked out, he thought about how much he hated those old political arguments he heard, that individuals are symptomatic of a sicker society. He came upon Super K, the great beacon for people who are lonely and cheap, and admired its neon beauty against the black backdrop sky. He was looking sideways and feeling sick about what was smothering the rest of the land. Strip mall upon strip mall, grids and rows of anonymous stores. He thought about how all this used to be a beautiful forest, and how disgusting it was that every developer was using their own lunch hooks to get a portion of the profits. He felt his stomach tighten from the thought of another obese teen selling Swatch watches and sunglasses, but then he turned his head forward, away from the strip mall, and saw nothing but outstretched lanes of tree branches and unpainted roads, and he knew that he was getting ready to finally go home. Ah, beautiful, isn't it? We cleared the room. I love it. Good. We cleared the room. But that's good, though. That's not a bad thing. I love it. This is one we haven't done in a while. I'm quite fond of it. Still here. This is Sacrifice of Satellite. Moments before dawn, phone ringing, unable to suss if it was happening from impressions born in shallow sleep while lights flicked on the neighbors' windows. Or, as the drift seized me back in, we were gun runners trapped in a house, detained by police, threatened by rivals, but I was able to slither out a side door and snuck away to a cafe where I was supposed to summon assistance, but decided instead, the hell with them. I was called to a room. The walls of the hallway were blue, and when I entered, there they sat, looking exactly as they did in 1984. When one spoke, there was no sound from their mouths, but the words synced loudly in my skull. Crushed flowers float downstream in the rainwater, and homemade smokestacks drip steam on half-awake blades of grass. New nuns count the gray hairs of their predecessors as they scan old photographs. Will they question who's alive in heaven? Are their words papering a mountain? They will have a moment where they behold the beauty of an empty screen or unplowed, snow-covered street. Lost in a world between are the souls who only dream when looking up. Thick, shimmering splotches of gray grease liquefy and start to drip down rust-colored walls of skins, watched by a babe with a flashbulb embedded in their wrist, who sits on gouged black and gold tiles in the center of a disused ballroom dance floor among carelessly flung piles of metal-pronged monitors, cords, discs, and spilled coffee grounds, broken vodka bottles, and asymmetrical platinum wigs. Every year there's a whisper the inventory will get a clean transfer. Winston Dubois knew the recovered money was wrapped in a mosquito net and secured in the back of a carriage. The horse stopped in front of an Air Force base, which got inadvertently captured on videotape, with the footage dissected by theorists for decades. Desmond Hampton learned Tony Chamberlain had double-crossed him as he drank milk and clapped erasers together outside his classroom. His signature had been forged and hidden throughout the system. The younger best brother thinks, if only I were a CEO buying companies whose names I don't know and could leverage my credibility to simultaneously flaunt my status and champion myself as an obscurity. The older best brother thinks, if only I were an oligarch and had a tapestry of machinery to do what I want, live in seclusion, invest in rare art, and pay for a hooker who looks like my daughter. Lost in a world between are the souls who only dream when looking up. The beams of starshine light land everywhere and leave valley-wide fingerprints for 7 years. Minute glass tubes can shiver without bursting squidding on glistening diamonds laid out on linen, spirals scrawled on maps with the location leading inside a puzzle box, while fungus slides up to a microscope and mixes with vinegar and bleach. Circles of sapphires line the linoleum tile with a surface so improbably clear it mimics a screen. Lost in a world between are the souls who only dream when looking up. Somehow figures appropriate for today. It's called Everyone. Too late in the evening, 7:45. That man around the corner lost his ring in a fight. Here comes St. Thomas walking through the door, found himself an auction, bought everything on the floor. I don't wake up too early, I don't cut my face, I don't call any strangers, I don't look for their graves. Everyone gets half of what they want and half of what they don't, half of what they couldn't and half of what they won't. Pork chops in the kitchen, above the sink there's a light. No milk on the table for the blink of an eye. Up the road is a driveway where they come out paid. They come out smiling. Dead cats in their way. Everyone gets half of what they want and half of what they don't. Half of what they couldn't and half of what they won't. This is called Would You Sell the Relics? The general that only cares about tomorrow also expects everyone to echo the same expression, and when the general can no longer see the power of their influence, they try to exert control over any small circumstance under their command. while the brigadier general worries to no one if they need a transfusion. The colonel, who's concerned that not enough people's fingerprints matches theirs, requires a warning on the front page of each report, along with a summary cut together by a subordinate in a matter of minutes so they don't have to waste any energy generating contradictory thoughts, while the captain enters their coordinates so their location is known and updated every moment, which leaves the captain free to make discoveries like the wheel or gravity, then sell their findings to the executives or campaign staff of their choice, urged by a strong sense of benevolence, a tribute to charity as a force. And the first lieutenant's unmatched love of history is proven by the pictures taken of their parents with Goebbels in Brazil in the 70s. And the second lieutenant's jealousy shows and grouses to one, "That's not Goebbels, it's clear it's Martin Bormann." The sergeant major that reset the standards of esprit de corps doesn't know the panic they'll feel a few short years later when they are urged out of the way, that they'll become stiff with resentment and resolute in their calls for punishment, and institute measures to monitor how the company behaves, while the staff sergeant writes on a photo of themselves, "The future belongs to you," and daydreams about collecting the remaining virginities from the sorority house down the road, and they already have the names, ages, and weights in a frequently updated database. Then the staff sergeant complains about commercials before content. The chief warrant officer who breaks ranks to research the order the alphabet was created in gets rueful about seeing themselves age and attending charity events, funerals, and hospital visits, seeing their face in the mirror more washed out than before, wondering as they write their commencement address who will even be paying attention in the audience, drinking from puddles, seeing what the sky says, not being able to read handwriting as children received a small puzzle in the mail. And to the private, it's all an eye roll. And all so boring and shallow to see another round of legacy shut out by an offhand remark. The private doesn't ask any of the officers where they should start. What's the matter where rebellion is kitsch and trauma is Walmart? The specialist greets the private. They each think the other is a dilettante. And later the specialist considers, what's the matter where you have 1,000 followers and not a dozen supporters? Would you sell the Relics? How we doing out there? Any requests? It's good. It's called I Got Away Alive and Sane. I've been living like the whole FBI died in a Kool-Aid mistake. I've been keeping a time bomb in my shoe so I know that my watch is correct. I got a tiger by the tail waiting for it to end tomorrow. I've been up all night burning my bridges, making jokes about ex-friends' fetishes. I won't tell you to hold on or say you don't deserve what you get, and you certainly won't ever see me take the first step. I got a tiger by the tail waiting for it to end tomorrow. I got a floorbird in the garage. I've been overstimulated. I've been sore. I got away alive and sane. I didn't get strangled or stained. I got away alive and sane. Oh, love me, love me, love me, love me, love me, love me. We only wanted to be loved. I just really wanted everyone to like me so much. Oh, love me. Oh, come on, love me. Love me, love me, love me. Love me. All right. This is called I'm Dancing with the Skeleton Key. I'm dancing with the skeleton key pinned under my belt the night after I had had two simultaneous dreams, an ocular split screen, one where a white-tailed fawn galloped to my front door and another where my brother couldn't get to sleep. I'm dancing with the skeleton key tied on a twine cord around my neck. Remember when my sister was locked in a minivan and stranded in a parking lot outside Austin? She kissed the windows and ate the tape in the cassette deck. I'm dancing with the skeleton key in my unopened mouth, tucked behind my wisdom teeth and obscured by my tongue. I have memories that my sister still won't believe, and I miss the twine 20th century because it could have been done so much better. I'm dancing with the skeleton key scotch taped to my arm. When I was in school, the vice principal gave himself a heart condition trying to figure out who had stolen from the convenience store and then had the gall to boast about it on the blackboard. I'm dancing with the skeleton key in the grotto of a dilapidated Catholic church where the priest once confessed to me that after each funeral he performed, the only way he could raise his spirits was by making uneasy music with the organist. I'm dancing with the skeleton key concealed in an alley while bells chime at midnight near the railroad and kids with no curfew dodge between dashing headlights on their way to play hide and seek in the park. I'm dancing with the skeleton key laid on the floor of a garage while my brother draws out diagrams on poster boards connecting lines from consequences of thoughts to isolated islands of thinking divided by unintended regressions of actions. I'm dancing with the skeleton key while I'm safe at home looking at sealed bags of clothes that I stopped wearing years ago while I was running for mayor on an unconfirmed platform of leaking information about the governor. I'm dancing with the skeleton key in an adjacent office because the evidence my brother uncovered just got delivered to the lawyer and he predicts it will make the judge jump and remove any condemnation from his mouth. I'm dancing with the skeleton key at a strip mall that used to be a swimming pool, and before that a man-made hill that covered demilitarized waste trucked over from a Floridian base, and it will still take 100,000 years before any of it reaches its half-life. I'm dancing with the skeleton key clasped tightly in my hand as I watch my sister in the mirror speak sentences with one word and plant orchids next to power lines in the backyard. Then she dots the driveway with empty jars to accurately measure the rainfall. I'm dancing with the skeleton key in my pocket, moving loosely with me. My brother used to cry bitterly to our parents every time he got a ticket, refuting each offense, denying he did any of it. I'm dancing with the skeleton key sliding uncomfortably in my shoe, but the nuisance helps give me the presence of mind to always hold up what I was taught. That when the rent is due, it's better to be full and well slept than to just hand over a blank check. I'm dancing with the skeleton key pressed into a book, watching leaves in the wind and a novelist at a press conference performing fake sign language, hoping it will get him the attention he wants for trying to revive the printed word. All right. We only wanted to be loved. We only wanted to be loved. This is called Allison, Where the Blue Sea and Icebergs Are. She's ice cream, and there she's down the hall. She uses words like everything and all. I can hear her, but I can't make out her features. I know she spends her weekends in a cement cinema making notes. The girl next to her tries to see what she wrote. Allison wonders why the guy in the elevator keeps glancing at her and why the weather keeps jumping between rain and sun every 30 minutes. She keeps saying, "Quit asking me questions. I am the one that's innocent." As people assume she's joking, Allison wonders, what are the windows thinking on a day where there's a white line down the center of the sky, and her mind cuts back to the guy in the elevator. Quick, look at me and look at you. We're equals. Allison wonders if she can keep hiding while knowing that they're following me. Allison writes, what started as hopes are now observations, mostly about nature, and being young stops being fascinating once it's done. Allison looks down at her bowl of spinach, and her eyes focus down on the details of one leaf, and she quietly speaks. An atheist sees this and can only think of the mud it grows from. Allison writes, we extend grace out of our own sense of grace, and smiles because she's not sure if that's something of her own or something she's half remembering from 2 or 3 incarnations ago. Allison considers why her back and hands are so slippery when she's invisible, and then tells her sister, my tongue is a graffiti sponge. I wonder if I'll have to make love in front of a judge. Allison considers that she's a character who looks and acts exactly like her, then draws a bath with the lights off. Allison invites her guests to walk barefoot while cherries and red confetti float out of her phone. Allison considers emptying cash registers if the security cameras lose power. But what she mostly wants are completely natural segues with no artificial blends. So with that, make thoughts your aim or nerve blaming when all meet with you at your beginnings, but make allowances for their worn out tools and make dreams a trap for fools after they are gone. All right, this is called White Cello, and it quotes, well, it's about, as I've been saying, it's about the burdens of being God's chosen vessel. Oh, you can't say that, Rich. That's arrogant. Or am I joking? Or am I not? This is called White Cello. Take the white envelope. Talk to me. I'm in the open window. I'm not in time, but I've got your watch and I need to learn to play this white cello. Scratch the surface. I'm on the shore with a can of sugar. It's never bitter. I'd really rather be playing, though, because I like the white strings and I like the white bow. That's not her. That's her, was the simplest thing you said today. I'm still and I'm still reeling with no moments except now. You don't possess any microscope, so I will take the telescope. I'm trying to be angelic, which isn't easy after getting desensitized with disappointments. Every night eating fresh vegetables but planning, you already know, and then you talk me out of it. You don't have a pistol in your waistcoat. Your teeth aren't flecked with flax seeds. My misjudgments are my own, and most are unknown. And just because I'm a pacifist just doesn't mean that I'll let any motherfucker abuse me. And speaking of myself, notice me. I'm standing next to the tree where the guy crashed the stolen car, then got out and ran for it. But I can behave for over 100 days, and I've squandered my efforts and so much goodwill that I sometimes still need to convince myself that I should try to learn to take lessons to play at all. But I'm sure that you want me to, and I know what I can do. And with that, we're not missing anything. We're humming songs through the phone. We're midnight movers. We're holy rollers without a religion. We're not. And don't be the guy on the bike in the right lane racing for his life against rush hour traffic in the morning. I know you are, and you know that I care, and I feel like I'm Clark Kent dressed in primary colors, and I just haven't taken off my glasses yet. She said, as long as it's not evil, and I said to her, I cannot be evil, certainly not right now. But it's the rising sun, it's the hard-boiled egg, it's basil, it's a blue charm. I just want to play the white cello. I just want to sit in a circle and think about it some more. So we're going to wrap this up, or are we going to continue to test people's patience? No, I'm thinking out loud. It's warm communication going on. Everyone should give each other flowers. And see, that's what I'm talking about. We need to change some channels. Quarters, nickels, and all sunbathers must be wearing a blue suit. Go to the Swanson, cut off your Swanson. It'll be like a reverse safari where they put lions, cheetahs, and tigers in a cage and drive them around in a truck to show them people shopping and walking down the street or pumping gas. It'll be the apex of manifestation. It'll be not something that's in the Bible. It'll be like the Bible. It'll be a suburban safari where some guy named Greg gives you a little pith helmet and plastic binoculars, and you wait under his kitchen table to use the cat to use the litter box. But why does it got to be white? Never heard from before. Advertising space available. Clean, clear water. And of course, the tastiest tomatoes. How are we doing out there? Any requests? All right. We're going to wrap this jazz up so we can watch... well, we are not watching the fucking results because I'm afraid of what's going to happen. And yes, that means I'm afraid of Trump winning, okay? Jesus Christ. Yes, that's what I'm afraid of. Biden might be nothing more than hitting the pause button, but I'd rather have the pause button than the open descent into fucking chaos there. Is that enough? Are you placated now? I don't like Donald Trump. I'm not a mega fucking person, okay? All right? Just fucking relax. I do, in fact, believe that Black Lives Matter. I've never once argued that all lives matter. Fucking relax. It's all gonna work out, okay? This is called Party of Colors. Her eyes open while she pretends that she can feel her own fontanelle. She thought she must be post-person or her cousin. She read the news, fear of law, and God and man, an infinite dynamic loop. She was one image at a time, so she thought that she must be a person, right? She wrote some news. Platitudes aren't solutions and fill space between waves. Now I'm new. And she also knew that the feeling of being new was something that she could always circle back around to. And this is called, of course, Honeybee 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like a coral pink butterfly heading to me, you're looking through your jeweled eyes. I'm waiting for your surprise. A birthday card, an aquarium hung on the wall. A memory in a vein swimming around, arriving late to hear a favorite song. Flying like a honeybee that counts the flap of its wings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keeping everything else alive. Bubbles on the honeycomb coming together in unusually warm weather. Honeybee 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keeping everything else alive. And this is our final piece of the night. And this is, of course, always, all the time. Now then! The present is in the future. History is present. The future is present. The present is present. And history is history. We see the future pushed in the foreground wonderfully, all three, you and me. And as a wonderful woman named Diane recently said, I hope our future is like flying birds. The weather is in the sea, gravityless moment, caught for G. Sookie, dotted with cherry trees and colored pencils. There is very little in life that matches what I feel when you smile back at what I whisper back at you. We're in the room and out of nowhere, looking at the inlet together in letters and circles, like a slit in a curtain, like a fluttering bird ready to bathe, like an oxidized copper fountain. I want to be with you, always, all the time, like a white shirt with a fresh grass stain, like a streetlight breathing air, like waving from the top of a ladder. You plan all the plans, always, all the time, like a strawberry on the counter, like fingernails washed clean, like a bee being curious of a new flower. You are adorable, always, all the time, like pickled ginger on salmon, like a workbench in the sun, like an invention imagined. We are here with each other, always, all the time, like a cat cornering a grasshopper, like a licked stamp pressed with a thumb, like a rectangle with unbroken corners. You are mine, I am yours, always, all time. We are going to do one more. Because I think we should. This is written many years ago. I did this a long time ago. This is about freedom. This is called Neil and Bobby Sock It To Me. I greet the puppies with a smile and attempt to comb my hair for a while. I idle my time on a red velour sofa. It's not mauve, it's not puce, it doesn't look anything like you. It's ugly, it's red, it's got plastic cushions. I spilled my apple juice on that sofa. Or is it a love seat? Or is it a futon? It might be a day for all I can see. Well, whatever the hell it is, I don't want to sleep on it or eat your chocolate cake anywhere near it. I don't even want to go in your house because your dog humps my leg and your boyfriend picks my teeth and your dad chews my eyelash and there's not 1 inch of floor space clean enough to lick. You turn my water brown. Your senile granddad dresses like a clown. He's got a big red nose. It's not nearly as revolting as that sofa. By the way, I'm not coming over tonight, so quit following me down the hall and hitting on me in the toilet stall, because any house with that much Elvis on velvet won't find me on their front porch swing or their Norman Rockwell painting. But maybe I will drop by, dressed in armor and a satin hat with some flowers for the maid and cocktails for the cat that never got me in a sack and a muzzle for that goddamn dog, and I'll cut out your nose hair and put it on your pancakes and yell, "Supper is served," so the butler can take a night off and throw some darts at granddad. And for dessert, I'll serve pigs in a blanket garnished with spaghetti Suzette with some lighter fluid and a lock of your mom's pubic hair to torch that fucking sofa to the ground, because it ain't Art Deco no matter how hard you try to swing it, and it really ain't. And the vinyl siding may go up in flames, but it really ain't little pink houses after all, now is it, toots? Woo! There you go. Yes! All right. That's the quarantine stream for this week. Next week, we'll see if there's a new president yet. Who knows? That's what happens when you elect a fucking lunatic. See, he's a fucking lunatic. I'm saying the things. Isn't that what you want? Just love me, love me, love me so much. I just want to be loved. All right. All right, here we go. Here's the theme.
Life is but a dream in the quarantine stream.
Beautiful. All right. By the grace of God, we will be back next week. Until then, and now more than ever, just remember, especially with COVID cases spiking 40% in one fucking day, just remember, stay safe, stay smart, and stay free, because you already are. All right. Like I said, by the grace of God, we will be back next week. I pray for all of us. I really do. All right, folks. Goodbye.